Most of the organizations off late have adopted a particular style of management, known as the Agile style of project management, which is a collaborative methodology by employing short development cycles called sprints. The main objective of an Agile style of management is to embrace flexibility and continuous improvement that results in a better end product. The Agile style of management focuses more on team collaboration rather than hierarchical leadership. Let's quickly recap the traditional project manager's role. In waterfall project management, project managers are responsible for distributing tasks across team members, defining scope in extensive documentation, planning work activities with great detail, and updating project status. In contrast, in Agile, the focus is on self-organizing teams, transparency, and shared ownership of the work process, as well as increased team collaboration. Every member of an Agile team plays a vital role. And interviewers always hire candidates with rich domain knowledge and ample experience. So, it is always better to be prepared from all aspects for an Agile Project Manager interview. Do you want to crack Agile Project Manager interview? Then, you are at the right place. Hello everyone. This is Eric from Invensis Learning, and I welcome you all to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to Invensis Learning, and press the bell icon to get the latest updates. We have bought 50 top Agile Project Manager interview questions, which help the aspiring professionals to crack the interview at the initial attempt. For better understanding of the concept, we have categorized Agile Project Manager interview questions into two sections. That is, fundamental and technical level questions. Situation-based questions. I hope you all are clear with the agenda for this session. So, let's get started. Let's start with fundamental and technical questions. The first question in this section is, why Agile? Agile is a well-known iterative and incremental approach to project management. It mainly focuses on breaking the vast and complex project into more manageable chunks, which could be completed in smaller iterations. Agile is a collaborative approach, incorporated to complete the work efficiently, adapt to changing needs, and optimize the workflow. Agile provides a clear understanding of its iteration's goal. With Agile, it's easy to handle changes in the scope of work. The next question is, what do all the Agile frameworks have in common? There are various Agile frameworks like Scrum, Kanban, Scrumban, Crystal, Lean software development, and extreme programming for implementing Agile. All Agile frameworks have certain aspects in common. They are fixed and moderate iteration length, a lightweight approach for the self-organizing team, iterative and incremental development. Next question is, list some of the best Agile metrics? If you are attending an interview for the Agile Project Manager's position, the interviewer will inquire about Agile metrics for sure. They may ask about the specific Agile metrics or explain all the metrics you are aware of. So here are some of the popular Agile metrics that they might ask for. Velocity. It is one of the project planning tools, used to estimate the work speed and time required for project completion. Work category allocation. Allocating different work categories to the team gives a clear picture of how the team members invest their time and priority. Time coverage. It is defined as the time required to develop and test every iteration. Deliver business value. It is the overall work efficiency of the entire Agile team. Only the productive Agile team can deliver the best value to the stakeholders. Defect resolution rate. It is defined as the time required to identify and fix the issues. The process requires the team to collaborate and deliver productive results. Cumulative flow diagram. It represents the project's workflow, wherein the x-axis represents the time, and the y-axis indicates the effort of the team members. Defect removal awareness. When the team members start proactively involving in product development, testing, and resolution of bugs, the quality of the end product significantly improves. Coming to the next question. What are the different planning stages in Agile? Agile project planning is basically iterative in nature. The different planning stages in Agile are as follows: product vision, product roadmap, release plan, sprint plan, daily scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospective. Moving on to the next question, we have, what are the perks planning for an Agile project? Here are a few benefits of planning for Agile implementation. High product quality, high customer satisfaction, increased project control, reduced risks, faster return on investment. Next question is, what are the tools used to improve the process activities? Some of the major tools used to improve the process activities are flow chart, value stream mapping, comparing and baselining a process, cause and effect analysis, Hypothesis testing. Next question we have is: what are the disadvantages of Agile model? It's not always that you will be asked to explain the features and advantages of Agile model. So, be prepared to answer the disadvantages of adopting the Agile model as well. Agile has varied benefits, and now it's important to know its disadvantages as well. It's tedious to measure the project's progress, as progress takes place at every phase. There is no clear end to the project. Requires more time because customers and developers must communicate with each other constantly. It is not useful to implement small development projects. The total cost of the project is slightly more than other methods. Projects can go out of track if the project manager is unclear about the requirements and the final product. Coming to the next question. What are the best practices of Agile methodology? Agile methodology has become one of the most popular methodologies that every organization should implement in place. Here is a list of few Agile best practices that one should be familiar with. Let's take a look at these practices. Iterative development. The concept of iterative development is about breaking a bigger project into easily manageable smaller chunks. The iteration process also involves continuous iterations in repetitive cycles. The teams must have a clear idea regarding the functionalities to be included in the project. Reducing waste. The concept of reducing waste in Agile methodology involves removing the tasks or events that don't have any value in the entire process. Doing so provides an overall idea about adding value to the business process to achieve goals within time. Continuous improvement. Incorporating a continuous improvement process in Agile methodology helps to attain desired results adhering to customer requirements, with reduced waste. Scrum meetings. It is all about conducting daily meetings, involving all the team members, and supervised by a product owner. The session lasts about 15 to 20 minutes. The purpose of the Scrum meeting is to discuss about yesterday's work, about current work, about any obstacles. Sprint demo meetings. It is conducted when you are ready to explain the functionality features to clients. Customers confirm the acceptance of features, included according to their requirements and expectations. Retrospective meetings. It is about conducting the final iterative development of the project involving all the team members. Clients may also be part of the meeting. The meeting involves various activities such as processes, improvisation, tools, and quality of work. Next question we have is: what is Agile Manifesto? What are its values? This is one of the most commonly asked questions during the interview. Firstly, let's understand what is Agile Manifesto and then move on to its values. Agile Manifesto is a document that outlines 4 values and 12 principles of Agile methodology. It helps to differentiate between Agile methodology and traditional waterfall methodology. The candidate should be aware of 4 values and 12 principles as stated in the Agile Manifesto. Agile values as stated in Agile Manifesto are: individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working products over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to changes over following a plan. The next question is: what are Agile Manifesto principles? In the previous question, we understood about Agile values, and in this question, let's understand about Agile principles. Meet customer needs. Welcome changes. Good teamwork. Motivate the people. Continuous feedback. Focus on active processes. Face-to-face talk. Working software. Technical excellence. Be simple. Self-organized. Adjust strategies. Coming to the next question. Explain the concept of triple constant triangle. The concept of triple constant triangle includes 3 key components, which are considered to be significant restrictions on any project. The 3 components are: time, cost, scope, and quality is considered central for the above components. Next question is: explain work breakdown structure. Interviewers always look out for project managers who are capable enough to handle massive and complex projects. Until and unless you are aware of the work breakdown structure, it's quite impossible to handle complex projects and deliver to the client within the deadline adhering to their specifications. So now, let's understand what work breakdown structure is all about. A work breakdown structure systematically arranges the task by breaking them into manageable sections and tracking them over time. The work breakdown structure is developed to establish a common understanding of project scope. It is a hierarchical description of the work that must be done to complete the deliverables of a project. Each descending level in the work breakdown structure represents an increasingly detailed description of the project deliverables. Work breakdown structure has 4 levels: First one is project title. Second one is control accounts. Third one is work packages. And the last one is activities. Next question is, what is a user story? Explain its features. Firstly, let's understand what user story is. A user story is a tool used in the development of Agile software, which captures a feature's explanation with an end-user perspective. A user story is created using following aspects. Who is the user? What is the intention of creating? What value does the story brings to customers? Some of the commonly known features of a good user story are: description, acceptance criteria defined, can be delivered in a single sprint, has all the user interface deliverables available, has all the dependencies identified, has tracking and performance criteria defined, and is estimated by the Scrum team. Moving on, we have: what are the key roles within the Agile project management team? This is one of the most important and basic level question one can expect it to be asked. Scrum Master. Scrum Master is the guardian of the entire project, provides regular feedback, and guides the team in the right direction, ensuring the work stays on track with timely completion. They are often called the team's advocate. Product Owner. The significant role of Product Owner is to have a goal for each sprint. They have a vision for a product, and how it fits into organizational goals. They manage and prioritize the task in the backlog, and act as a voice for the stakeholder. Team Members. Team members are responsible for creating the entire product. They are responsible for executing the task in every sprint. The team members have varied skills and strengths, which would help to get the work done efficiently. The team can be of people with the same job roles, or different roles. Stakeholders. The stakeholders of the project should be kept updated about the project proceedings. They must be involved during the sprint retrospective meeting, to review the work, and provide feedback for the changes to be made. Next question we have is: explain the major point of difference between risk impact and risk probability. Risk probability. It defines the chances of risk occurrence shortly. Risk impact. It is defined as the cost when the risk occurs. Next question is, when running a project, what are the risks you might face? Some of the common risks that you might come across while managing a project are: cost, schedule, resource, performance, market risk, strategic risk, legal risk, operational risk, governance, external risk. Next question we have is: explain the term release candidate. To ensure there is no critical problem left during the final development phase, a code or a build or a version is released, and it is known as release candidate. The release candidate is equivalent to the final build and is used for testing purpose. Release candidate is not for production deployment, it is used only for testing purpose. Next we have: how does Agile team maintain requirements? Agile teams use product backlog to maintain requirements. The Agile team is a leading group of people who work together on a project and have all the needs and people needed to produce a proven product promotion. Product owners work by prioritizing customer needs. They work with the number of people needed as a team to deliver their products and customer needs needed at the beginning of the sprint. Next question we have is: list a few Agile estimation techniques. Poker editing, bucket system, dot voting, affinity mapping, order protocol, t-shirt sizes, TFB, and FC. Next question is related to Agile testing. What is Agile methodology in testing? List a few Agile testing methods. Agile testing is a practice that follows rules and principles of Agile methodology, or Agile development practices. Agile testing process is a continuous process, rather being sequential. Various Agile testing methods are: behavior-driven development, acceptance test-driven development, exploratory testing, session-based testing. Next question is: list a few Agile testing principles. In the previous question we understood the definition of Agile testing, and now let's see what are its principles. Here are some of the principles of Agile testing. Simple code. Having a simple, clear, and concise code will help to remove any sort of errors and defects that arise during testing phase. Less documentation. Agile process make use of reusable checklist. The focus is on testing process, rather on incidental details. Continuous feedback. Continuous feedback ensures that the final product satisfies customer requirements. Continuous testing. Continuous testing ensures continuous progress of the product development phase. Development and testing teams need to be actively involved in the testing process. Testing process is done along with development and implementation process to ensure that final product is free from defects. The next one is: can you apply Agile methodology with software development and testing? You can apply the Agile methodology in different places, such as the field of biophysics, biochemistry, and biomedical, or any place where there is a lack of proper data. You need to know where you have to complete the project, with a limited number of team members, and where to work in various areas. Next question is: list some of the Agile project management tools. This is one of the most popular questions you can expect to be asked. If you have worked on any of the tools, you can give a brief explanation of it as well. Some of the popular Agile tools are as listed below: Trello, Verizon One, Rike, Jira, Asana, Yodas, Zoho, GitHub, Active Collab. Next question we have here is: explain some of the latest trends in Agile project management tool. Being an Agile project manager, you need to keep yourself updated with the trends regarding Agile project management tools. You need to embrace the changing technologies with time. Here are some of the latest trends in Agile project management. Most projects are influenced by artificial intelligence and data intelligence. Different approaches are being used widely. Diversity in project management can be seen to a greater extent. The next question is: explain the major point of difference between Agile and Scrum. This is a very common question that you will come across in the Agile Scrum interviews. On the whole, it is easy to see why Agile and Scrum can often be confused, as they both rely on an iterative process, frequent client interaction, and collaborative decision-making. So, what's the difference? A straightforward answer to this question would be to say, Agile is more of a philosophy that takes an incremental and iterative approach towards the completion of a project, while Scrum is a specific Agile framework with its own unique features. It is used to enable the teams to incorporate practices from other frameworks, based on the team requirements. Apart from Scrum, there are other frameworks that are used to implement the Agile philosophy. Next we have: explain the differential feature between sprint backlog and product backlog. Product backlog comprise of all the essential features required for product development, and it is completely under the control of product owner. Sprint backlog is a subset of product backlog items the team commits to complete the task in the given sprint. Next one is: what is the average duration of the Scrum cycle? Firstly, let's understand what is Scrum sprint, and then we shall understand about Scrum cycle duration. A Scrum sprint is a short and time-boxed period when a Scrum team works to complete the work to produce a deliverable product. Scrum cycle duration depends on the project and team size. Usually, it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to complete a sprint of the Scrum cycle. Next question is: explain the concept of yesterday's weather in Agile. The term yesterday's weather was used for extreme programming, in order to keep the teams from becoming too complacent during the running times. The story goes something like this. Once upon a time, there was a government that spent a full amount of money on a satellite in the weather forecast. It took years. $1 million cost. But in the end, they were able to launch a satellite that was able to accurately predict the weather at about 70% of the time. It is then that one realizes that if they say that today's weather will be the same as yesterday's, they will be 70% accurate. Extreme programming uses this concept to keep the teams alert from becoming too committed during the sprint process. The term also reminds us that best prediction for the future is what we have done in the past. Let's move on to the next question. What are the characteristics of a product backlog? Good product backlogs share similar characteristics, which Mike Cohn and Roman Pichler captured with the acronym DEEP: detailed appropriately, emergent, estimated, and prioritized. Let's look more closely at each of these characteristics. Detailed appropriately. The product backlog items will differ in their level of detail. Those that we will work on sooner, those at the top of the product backlog, will be more detailed. Those that we won't work on for some time, will be less detailed. We want to refine backlog items as they rise in priority, adding details is just enough. Emergent. The product backlog is a living document, constantly changing as the product is being developed or maintained. As the team and product owner learn more about the product and the marketplace, they might add new items, discard some, and change others. The emergent nature of the product backlog is not only expected but is a sign of a healthy and functioning product backlog. Estimated. At the appropriate time, each product backlog should have a size estimate that corresponds to the effort required to develop that item. The product owner uses these estimates to help determine a product backlog item's priority. Ideally, most of items at the top of the product backlog will be sprint-sized, small enough to be worked on during a single sprint. Large and high priority items should be broken into smaller stories, prior to being declared sprint ready. Prioritized. Prioritizing product backlog beyond that is likely required is a waste of effort, as too much might change by the time the first release is out. Instead, prioritize new items as they emerge and save the someday or future release items for later. Moving forward to the next question, we have: how does Agile team get clarity on product backlog items? Product backlog items are ordered based on business value, cost of delay, dependencies and risk. Product backlog items at the top of the product backlog are small, well understood by team, ready for development and can deliver value to the business. Product owner and facilitator detail out the backlog items planned for upcoming iterations. During every iteration, team has backlog refinement session with the product owner, for gaining clarity on the backlog items to be picked up in upcoming iterations. It provides clarity on the backlog items which could be used for future changes. Moving ahead, we have: can you explain impediments in Scrum with an example? Impediments are hurdles or obstacles that the Scrum team encounters during the process. Impediments that one can come across in the Scrum team are: lack of resources or team member, lack of knowledge, business conflicts, operational and technical issues, lack of support system, lack of internal and external support. Make sure to answer what measures you would take to encounter these impediments. Explaining can be an added advantage to get qualified in the interview. Our next question is: explain Kanban? Kanban is a tool used to keep track of the team's progress and work. With Kanban, progress is well established along with the status of the current growth plan, and it is achieved accurately using the Kanban board. You can write the whole scenario at once with the aid of the Kanban board, so that you can get the bigger picture, progress in the process, the job is finished, or the overall status of a project. Next we have: what do you understand by the term Scrum of Scrums? Can you explain with an example? This is one of the most frequently asked questions in an Agile Project Manager interview. You can even take a simple example to explain the term in a better way. Scrum of Scrum is a daily meeting wherein multiple Scrum Masters and product owners hold meetings to discuss the work progress. Irrespective of number of teams, every team facilitates their Scrum meeting, and to discuss the project status as a whole, it's necessary to facilitate Scrum of Scrum meeting. Though it is the same as daily Scrum, the focus is on the team level. Example: consider 7 teams are working on a project, with 7 members in a team. Each team organizes its Scrum meeting. A separate meeting should be organized with all the Scrum Masters. This kind of meeting is known as Scrum of Scrums. Every team has a team leader representing their team. Next question we have is, related to Agile principles. Which of the Agile approach is in line with the Agile principles to manage architecture and design? Nimble Framework. Nimble Framework provide Agile application and systems development related services including maturity assessment, strategy, architecture and delivery. Benefits: the framework are: collaborative approach ensures systems are fit for task accomplishment. Provide secure, highly available ongoing hosting and maintenance. Competent and friendly team members transfer knowledge effectively. Iterative and nimble approach gives flexibility in delivery. Next question is: how do you conduct a sprint retrospective meeting? The Scrum Master holds a sprint retrospective meeting to assess the entire sprint process. The focus will be on what went well during the process and what not, whether the task load was equally distributed amongst the team, and the outcome of each sprint. The team can discuss the changes that could be made for the upcoming sprints, by getting feedback from the team. Meanwhile, it is equally important to congratulate the team for their efforts during the sprint process. Each team member should be allowed to discuss their ideas. Instead of finding the answers for the previous sprint process, focus on working better in upcoming projects. Next, let's move on to situation-based questions. First question we have in this section is: how do you handle a project? When you are asked such a question, remember that the interviewer wants to know whether you are the right fit for the organization, and your project management experience in the previous organization. Here, you need to showcase your Agile skills and leadership quality. Firstly, explain the project you worked on in your previous organization, and emphasize on using Agile methodology. Next, showcase your team player skills. Most organizations look for a motivating and interactive project manager who can easily collaborate with the team rather than a one-person army. Lastly, explain every project is unique, and you are flexible enough to apply different approaches, as per the project requirement. Moving on, we have: why do you think a project manager should be proactive? Proactive leaders are more likely to predict threats and incorporate threat management strategies to reduce risks. Project managers should be projective for the following reasons. Proactive participants have better control over the tools and activities involved in the project. They can better track all problems and activities related to minor enhancements and adjustments for higher efficiency and efficiencies. They also constantly organize developer meetings to discuss their issues, share best practices, and brainstorm solutions. They compare the time and cost of every week spent on tasks with the numbers given. Next question is: how would you prioritize tasks? Prioritization is one of the important concepts in Agile. Task prioritization is essential as it ensures timely and successful completion of the tasks, but it is specifically important in dealing with Agile projects, as Agile is a time-boxed approach with fixed resources that requires prioritization, considering time and budget. Here are a few pointers to prioritize tasks. List down the task. Be clear on what is required on priority. Determine the importance of each task. Be adaptive and flexible. Estimate efforts. Be clear on when you need to decline requests. Moving on to next question. How would you handle a stakeholder who is easy to work with? Stakeholders are the people and organizational units who communicate with the Scrum Master, product owner, and the Scrum team to provide inputs to the creation of products and services. They influence the project throughout the development process. At times, it is quite tough to handle stakeholders. Here are a few ways to handle such stakeholders. Pay heed to their issues. Overcome negative emotions. Improve communication. Appreciate and develop a good rapport. Ask for suggestions. Be honest and considerate to the decisions. Next question is: explain your leadership style? Leadership is one of the most important attributes that every project manager should possess, with their own style to guide their team. Leadership style refers to the characteristics of the leader, while motivating the team for better performance, innovation, and creation. There are 4 types of leadership styles, which should be used based on project and type of team you are working with. They are: delegate, supportive, directing, coaching. The next question we have is: how do you define your ideal project? Before deciding on your ideal project, there are certain questions that you need to be aware of. Here are some of them. What type of work are you interested in? How much are you allowed to showcase your creativity? What type of deadline works best for your project? How comfortable are you with trying out new things at work? Do you prefer to work as a part of a team or work alone? Next question is: how do you know this is an off-track project? As a project manager, you must be aware of several strategies to check if the project is off track. There are certain pointers that indicate whether your project has gone off track. When budget exceeds the given limit. When no goals or objectives are defined. When the project scope constantly changes. When the project takes more time to complete. Moving on to the next question. What actions you would take when a project goes off track? Here are a few ways how you can take quick action to bounce back. Find out the root cause. Put more efforts and time to cover up the timeline. Follow the original goal and vision. Adjust resources, manpower, and finance. Conducting face-to-face discussions with clients and stakeholders. Next question is: how would you handle the team workload? If you come across such a question while you appear for Agile Project Manager interview, remember that interviewer is looking for an ideal candidate who can make use of all the resources efficiently. In fact, it's quite a tricky question indeed. The job role of an Agile Project Manager is to find constant improvement in overall performance of the organization. You can answer like: analyze the work distribution. Work optimization for overburdened workers. Assign tasks to lesser burdened employees. A proper plan to upskill all employees. Our next question is: how would you monitor and review delegated responsibilities? The major responsibility of an Agile Project Manager is to break down the large and complex projects into smaller tasks, and assign those tasks to concerned people to get the project on time. At this point, it becomes essential for you to showcase your delegating responsibilities to the interviewer. Monitoring and reviewing the delegated responsibilities is not a simple task. There are several aspects that a project manager should consider. Here are a few. The project manager should have a clear understanding of the strengths and weaknesses of all the team members, so that it becomes easy to assign tasks. Once the task is assigned, the project's progress can be monitored by using a spreadsheet and one-to-one meeting for better communication with the team. If any team member is not up to the mark with the project, ensure to bring it to their notice and correct the issue which further doesn't hinder the project's progress. Next question we have is: how steps would you take if the customers are not satisfied with the product's final quality? This is truly a tricky question indeed. The aspiring Agile project manager should carefully answer this question. Handling an unsatisfied customer is not an easy task. There are certain aspects that a project manager should consider to handle an unsatisfied customer. Firstly, make the customer understand you value them. Understand the reason for not being satisfied with the product. Figure out the modifications required and communicate with the respective team for required modifications. Try to implement all the modifications. If not possible to implement all modifications, try to convince the customers that the project perfectly fits its scope. Well, these answers would definitely make you appreciable from the interviewer's point of view. Moving on, we have: being an Agile project manager, how would you make your team diverse? As an Agile project manager, you need to be diverse with your team for varied reasons such as changing organizational policies, aging workforce, and other such reasons. So now the question is, how do you become diverse with your team? Here are some of the ways. Include every team member in all the phase. This makes them feel valued and respected. Understand each team member at personal level. Prepare a constructive feedback about the team on a regular basis. Equality amongst all the team members. Zero tolerance policy for bias. Create a team spirit. Next question is: what challenges did you come across in your previous projects? And what steps you took to handle it? Having testimonials of a successful project is not always what an employer looks for. Being honest and confident in the way you answer is much important, as the interviewer assess your approach in handling a problem rather your success record. So, tell the employer. What are the challenges once appeared in the project? How and what you learned from the mistakes? What steps you are going to take in your future approach? Make sure that this conversation convey your quick thinking, calm, and problem-solving ability to the interviewer. Next question we have is: how would you choose a better means of communication for your project or team? This question is asked to assess your role as a team leader. While answering such a question, make sure to convey to the interviewer the importance of communication as a project manager. The communication medium you use for your project depends, according to the team and project you are handling. Some of the commonly used communication medium are: personal interaction, responsive communication, electronic communication, and written medium. Last question we have in this section is: explain your routine as an Agile project manager? You can answer like: planning activities of the day. Depending on each day, the manager will need to plan what to be done for the day. The manager is supposed to be attending a daily stand-up meeting with his project team. In this meeting, the members of the team are supposed to give a report of what was done the previous day, and any issues which were encountered, and the solutions to those can be discussed. The manager is supposed to plan, or set up a technical discussion which will address any technical issue that arises during the daily stand-up meeting. The manager will update project status for current sprint using project tools, such as Kanban board, or any other Agile project management tools. The manager is supposed to review the issue, and risks register, and to ensure that all actions are taken. The manager should also follow up on all outstanding issues that may be in place. The manager is supposed to be attending a meeting with the client on per-need basis. This will ensure the client is updated on a daily basis on the progress of the project. Finally, after winding all the daily activities, the manager is required to plan for the next day activity. This may include planning next day meetings among others. Well, we have reached the end of Agile Project Manager interview questions. I hope this will help you to crack your interview and ace your career. Before heading for a job, you should prefer to go through such kind of interview questions and prepare well. Are you planning to become an Agile certified professional? We are here to help you. At Invensis Learning, we provide various Agile certification training worldwide. Enroll now and take the next step in the world of Agile. For more updates on trending technologies, subscribe to Invensis Learning YouTube channel. Also, if you have any queries, share them with us in the comments section.